Oftentimes, I find myself having to explain to people outside of Ireland the importance of the sport hurling and the importance of it not only to Irish culture but also to Irish history, because this one sport has stood the test of time. It's still played today, but its origins go beyond the first century, beyond the age of Christ, and into pagan times. Now, I may be biased because I'm part of the Daoise, and if you asked me on any day of the week, I'd tell you that the Daoise is the best hurling team in Ireland. But if you look into history and indeed mythology, Louth arguably has the best team, because on their team they have Chulainn. But he was not only just a deadly hurling player, he was also a legend and a warrior. So when it comes to Irish mythology, there's 4 different cycles. There's the mythological cycle, the Ulster cycle, the Fenian cycle, and the King cycle. Chulainn is part of the Ulster cycle. I'm not really one to do things backwards, but this story is by request. So this is the legend of Chulainn. Chulainn is one of the most famous Irish mythological heroes. He appears in the stories of the Ulster cycle and Scottish and Manx folklore. He is said to be the son of Dictera and the god Luch, and the nephew of Conchobar MacNassa, the King of Ulster. His given name at birth was Setanta, but he gained the name Chulainn, meaning Chulainn's hound, after he killed a ferocious guard dog belonging to a blacksmith named Chulainn. Chulainn offered to take the place of the guard dog until the replacement could be reared. The stories of Chulainn's childhood, which date back to the 9th century, are many. It is said that as a small child he had asked incessantly to be allowed to join the boy troop at Avon Vaca, which is today known as Navan Fort in County Armagh in Northern Ireland. According to the legend, he sets out on his own and eventually runs into the playing field at Avon, unaware of the custom of asking for protection. The other boys see this as a challenge and attack Setanta, but he beats them all single-handedly as he carries the trait of the Rheostrad, in which he undergoes a sort of distortion, becoming an unrecognisable monster who knows neither friend nor foe. King Conchobar put a stop to the fight. In the next part of the story, Chulainn the blacksmith invites Conchobar to his home for a feast. At this point, Conchobar is so impressed by Setanta that he asks him to join the dinner. Setanta is unable to attend right away, but promises to join him at Chulainn's house later. However, Conchobar forgets, and Chulainn lets loose his ferocious hound to protect the house. On arrival at their house, Setanta is forced to kill the guard dog in self-defense. Chulainn is devastated at the loss of his guard dog, and Setanta feels so bad that he offers to rear a new one and to guard Chulainn's house until the new dog is ready to do so. And from then on, Setanta was known as Chulainn, which means Hound of Chulainn. When Chulainn is 7 years old, he overhears a druid named Cathbad teaching pupils at Avon Vaca. Cathbad states that any pupil who takes arms that day would have everlasting fame. Desiring everlasting fame, Chulainn goes to King Conchobar and asks for arms. Conchobar gives Chulainn many arms to try, but none can withstand Chulainn's strength, until finally Conchobar gives him his own arms. Unfortunately, Chulainn did not listen to Cathbad's full prophecy, and he was unaware that a pupil who took arms that day would have everlasting fame, but also a short life. As Chulainn gets older, he decides he would like to take Emer, daughter of Fergal monarch, as a wife. However, Fergal is opposed to this and tells Chulainn that he should train with the Scottish warrior woman Sconach. Fergal's true intent is that Chulainn will be killed. While Chulainn is gone, Fergal offers Emer to Luga MacNace, King of Munster, but when the king learns that she loves Chulainn, he refuses to take her hand. Sconach teaches Chulainn all the arts of war, His fellow trainees include Ferdiad, who becomes Cuchulainn's best friend and foster brother. During his training with Skonach, Cuchulainn comes to face Aoife, Skonach's rival. Although the two are evenly matched, Cuchulainn eventually seizes Aoife and demands that she bear him a son. While Aoife is pregnant, Cuchulainn leaves Scotland and returns to his love Emer, but Fergal still refused to allow the marriage. Enraged, Cuchulainn storms Fergal's fortress, kills 24 of his men, abducts Emer and steals Fergal's treasure, and Fergal eventually falls to his death. King Conchobar fears the marriage of Cuchulainn and Emer because Conchobar has the right to the first night over all marriages and is afraid of Cuchulainn's reaction if he sleeps with Emer. On the other hand, Conchobar will lose all power and authority over his subjects if he doesn't. The druid Cathbad suggests that Conchobar sleep with Emer, but Cathbad sleep between them. After 8 years pass by, Cuchulainn's son by Aoife, Conla, comes to visit him. When Conla refuses to identify himself, Cuchulainn kills him. As Conla dies, his final words are that he and Cuchulainn could have carried the flag of Ulster to the gates of Rome and beyond, leaving Cuchulainn grief-stricken. Several years pass and Cuchulainn rides out to face a group of men who have conspired to kill him. They were all sons of the men that he had killed. On his way, he encounters 3 one-eyed hags eating the feast of a roast dog. They invite him to join them. Cuchulainn has several gesa, which are self-declared taboos which, if broken, would lead to his inevitable downfall. 2 of his gesa were to never eat dog meat and to never refuse hospitality. At this junction, he has no choice but to break one of his gesa. He takes one bite and places the bone under his thigh. The hand he used and his thigh are immediately weakened. Cuchulainn continues on his journey and is eventually killed while fighting his conspirators. He could not bear the thought of dying on the ground like an animal, but wanted to die on his feet like a warrior. He crawled to a standing stone and tied himself to it, gripping his sword tightly. As he stood there, dying, a raven came and tripped over his intestine. Cuchulainn laughed and died with the laugh in his mouth. For 3 days after he died, he stood tied to the rock, and none of his enemies were brave enough to approach to make sure that he was dead. At the end of 3 days, the Morrigan took the shape of a raven and perched on his shoulder. And when he did not move, they knew it was safe. And while Cuchulainn's life may have ended at 27 years old, the legend of Cuchulainn lives on. It lived on through druids, through bards, through Shanachie from town to town, through mothers and fathers, whispering of the legends and stories of Cuchulainn, and it carries on through the spirit of the GAA and also of the spirit of Ireland and our language. But Cuchulainn, to us, is always going to be more than just a man. He's a figure. He's a symbol of strength. He's a symbol of what we were, what we are, and what we can be. So much so that there is a statue of Cuchulainn in the GPO in Dublin as a memorial to the 1916 Easter Rising, dedicated to the strong men and women who fought for our freedom and who fought for our nation to become a republic. Thanks for listening. Looks like next time we're going to be talking about Oisín and Niamh in Tír na nÓg.